Let me tell you a story, an interesting story about a gaming company. Once upon a time, that company was loved, praised, and worshipped from people all over the world. For many of us, Blizzard's games were an essential part of our childhoods and even adulthood. Hordes of American neckbeards were ready to rally any store where they could find their favorite game made was being sold on its release. However, now Blizzard Entertainment is rivaling Electronic Arts and Ubisoft for the most hated AAA cash-grabbing game developer. A lot has happened during this time, dozen remarkable stories ranging from great to awful. We'll take a closer look at this company's historical events and form our own opinion. We'll need to answer some key questions though, that shall guide us on this path. How was the company created? What led to Blizzard's major success? Why was the company loved and praised so much? How and why was its reputation ruined afterwards? What happened to Blizzard Entertainment?
Why Uther ever vouched for you is beyond me. You've stripped him of his honor by casting yours to the winds. You deserve a gruesome death, boy.
Blizzard's journey throughout its inception is surrounded by synchronicities, strange events, and weird circumstances. From the first chat between Alan Adam and Mike Morhaime, then Adam meeting Bravik and the eventual creation of Blizzard North, to then StarCraft stuff initial showing, costing a reboot, and many, many more.
Hell, it's about time.
In just a second. This is insane. And here we go.
And they're off.
Marines trying to get back there. Tanks on hold position. Puts up the depot. That's exactly what he needed to do. Uh-oh, but this is so scary. Spreading those Marines. Beautiful spread. And he minimizes damage more than I thought he even would.
Players to commit. Kiwikaki's been loading on both sides. Here it goes.
Oh, here we don't go. Here we go now for sure.
There's the
look at the
all
fungals on
the
everything.
Field.
Oh, is he going to jump in there though? Nope, the Archon's not jumping in. The mothership just getting a little bit aggressive.
Oh, he got a second one. He
it?
got a second one.
The Archons are not jumping in. Oh,
There they are.
goes
There they are.
And
1.5 seconds, and then the Archons will come back. Stefano trying to get away, but the Colossi
Splitting the
are
army.
doing so much damage.
Oh man, everything bunched up right there, and I think Kiwikaki, is he gonna have enough? Is he gonna take out the Broodlords?
There are so few Broodlords left, just a couple left remaining on the field, and then it's all ground forces.
Kiwikaki's got it!
He's got it! He's got it! He's got it!
I can't
Kiwikaki takes out the
believe
last Broodlord!
I mean, the BCs have so much health. And he's just pushing, man. He's like, all right, let's do it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. But no Archons. Where's his Archons? He needs to get those in there.
He gunned down the Archons before it was time.
And the Void Rays come out. And Archon goes in. Archon goes in. Get in there. Oh my God, what are we seeing? Side Storm. This is madness.
Oh my God,
Is he
he's
actually
gonna
gonna
get
kill
all
this
of those
army?
Rays.
Oh, the BCs are all going down. I can't believe what I just saw. Oh my God.
I have a soft spot in my heart for the StarCraft franchise, as it represents my early glimpse into PC gaming when I was very little. I hope you enjoyed some of the highlights of StarCraft Wings of Liberty. The idea is to introduce and summarize Blizzard's most influential and successful work through these short gameplay segments. I want you to have a fresh visualization of how the games looked when they were released and how their progression manifested on a linear timeline. Hopefully this will help you recall some of your memories of playing Blizzard games. You can use those connections and reference points later when we start dissecting and analyzing the events. Then you can draw your own conclusions. Some things become much clearer with the luxury of time on our side, as our brain has more time to organize and think things through. We are less prone to the emotional states that cloud our judgment and risk making us too biased and affected.
Even able to make any use of it with that damage, they just have to retreat.
Jaehong, the enemy Ana, sniping him from the back line. And Jaehong is such an incredible Ana player. Teams have talked about how he's such an offensive threat as well, and you see that. He killed Shadowburn and Rubicon goes down again without ulting.
A couple kills for Arhan already, as South Korea tries to defend the point once again. Eska will drop the Blizzard, and Reds is on his own. He will join his team in the afterlife, though, as South Korea cleans up the rest of this fight. There goes Anik.
This was a brief sample of Blizzard's games in the last 30 years. It's time for the fun and more in-depth part of the video. Stay tuned.
Oh, at last.
This plan provides an overview of Blizzard Entertainment's game release timeline combined with crucial events and key developments. We will explore 4 distinct periods that mark significant structural changes and decisions shaping the company's future direction, leading to the current state of Blizzard Entertainment. The first era, called the Golden Age. During this period, Blizzard built an impeccable reputation and became synonymous with high-quality PC games. Blizzard was known for the company which had never released a bad game. Second era, or the decline. This era saw Blizzard struggling with internal and external challenges that started to erode its earlier success. The third era, or the Dark Age. It seems that profit had become the only priority. The current era is marked with significant challenges that had affected Blizzard's standing in the industry and among its fans. In conclusion, we will explore each of these periods in detail, focusing on the key factors and circumstances that define them. By understanding the evolution of Blizzard Entertainment, we can gain insight into the pivotal moments that have shaped its journey. Humble beginnings. Blizzard Entertainment was founded in 1991 as Silicon and Synapse by 3 people, Alan Adam, Michael Morheim, and Frank Pierce.
How I met Mike is a crazy, crazy story. Kind of knew each other peripherally from classes we'd had together, but didn't really know each other. I didn't know his name and vice versa. We were sitting in a lab coding and happened to be sitting side by side. And I got up to go get a cup of coffee, ended up bumping into some friends and talking. Well, before I left, I locked my computer using my password. And when I came back, I sat down and I unlocked the computer and continued working. And Mike, this guy sitting next to me I didn't really know, turned to me and he said, "How did you do that?" And I said, "What? You just lock it when you leave, you unlock it when you come back." And he says, "No, while you were gone, it timed out and I locked it using my password. How did you unlock it?" And I said, "What's your password?" And it turned out, by some crazy coincidence, we both were using the same password. And so, to think that Mike and I, if that moment doesn't happen, maybe Mike and I never really meet each other, maybe Blizzard never exists. It's kind of crazy. My whole life, the most fun thing that I know to do is to make and play video games. I tried to recruit basically anybody at UCLA who was really good at comp sci into this harebrained idea that a bunch of kids were going to go start a computer company.
The company's early projects were conversions of existing titles for a variety of home computer systems. But soon after, it started releasing a number of original titles for each following year. firstly focused on the console market. Games such as the Lost Vikings, Rock'n'Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. Blizzard was gaining initial experience with developing and publishing games. Those essential skills would be required later on. A significant event happened a year later for young Silicon and Synapse. Westwood Studios released the enormously influential game Dune 2. Though it wasn't much of a commercial success, this unique strategy game would certainly impact Blizzard's next project, and PC gaming would never be the same. A key note: in the early days, Blizzard faced significant financial difficulties. A 2016 article from PC Gamer provides insights into the challenges the co-founders experienced in paying their employees. Mike Morhaime and Alan Adam, along with cinematics artist Jerry Hall, described how the company often ran on very tight margins, frequently relying on borrowed money to stay afloat. They consistently reinvested any new funds back into the company to hire more talent, which strained their finances further. In the meantime, a key deal was about to take place. Davidson and Associates was an educational software company. At the time, they were very successful and were pretty much dominating the market. They were known chiefly for their Blaster series of educational games, including Math Blaster. Logical for any successful business is to expand, and Blizzard Entertainment was up for grabbing. On February 18, 1994, Davidson and Associates secured the creator of the Lost Vikings in a stock deal valued $6.75 million. Soon after, an announcement came in March. A few months after its name changed to that we know of today, Blizzard Entertainment. The word entertainment was chosen due to Blizzard's desire to branch out eventually into other forms of media such as movies, books, comics, as well as physical and digital goods, and not simply be a game company. The word Blizzard came from a dictionary search by Allen and was the first word that sounded cool.
Blizzard.
And wasn't copyrighted already. A symbolic read could be that the name change happened during an important time for the company, and it signifies their new direction. Looking back, this will be the year from when someone might argue the huge ripple effects in the gaming industry made by Blizzard Entertainment originate. The first name was meant to be the building blocks of a computer, silicon chips, and the building blocks of a human mind, synapses. But nobody got it, as Morhaime put it. I assume many of you would agree that the original name, Silicon and Synapse, is not the best name representing a gaming company. Even in today, I feel this will be more suited for an entity developing AI or manufacturing computer chips compared to video games. So the direction to change their name was the right one.
This is one of our sort of secrets, right? How to make games that appeal to a casual or mid-core player, but also to a hardcore player. At the time, the prevailing wisdom was you sort of had to pick an audience, and if you tried to make a game for everybody, then you would get nobody. And we rejected that notion. We thought, actually, there are examples, and the simplest, probably two, that we talk about, the canonical examples that we give at Blizzard to help people understand are chess and Go. Go is so simple, you can explain how to play it in 30 seconds. But actually, it's incredibly strategically deep despite its simplicity. And chess is the same thing. Chess only has 6 piece types. You can explain the rules of chess in about 5 minutes to an 8-year-old, and then you can play, and then that 8-year-old could play every day for the rest of their life. Strategic depth does not require complexity, and the holy grail of game design are those rare gems where you find strategically deep games that are still simple. That lets you invite in casual or mid-core players and then graduate them up the sort of, strategically, the strategic curve until they're, hardcore. And so you see that echoing in all of our game designs.
In summer 1994, PC gamers were circulating the demo for Warcraft Orcs vs Humans. The series took the top-down strategy tactics in Dune 2 and added an approachable fantasy presentation. Anyone familiar with Tolkien's tales could find something familiar in the colorful and often humorous characters portrayed in Warcraft. It no longer mattered who was the first to the RTS genre, after Blizzard played to their greatest strength, tapping into mass appeal. Perhaps what is most important about this landmark game for Blizzard was that it didn't just attract hardcore gamers, but it generated them. The addition of multiplayer over modem and LAN allowed for the full potential of the strategy genre to be explored by millions of friends experiencing online competition in a strategy game for the first time. The release of Warcraft not only put Blizzard on the map, it also made the company profitable, a huge milestone if you want to continue any business. Frank Pierce reminiscence of the early days. When we were a much younger and smaller company, the bonds that developed between everyone were very strong. It was easy to know everyone well, because going out for a beer only meant taking 2 or 3 cars to bring the entire company. Oftentimes, social events would take place right on the floor in the middle of the office. We spent lots of time playing games like Street Fighter, and when Magic the Gathering first came out, we used to get people together at the office every Tuesday evening to play into the night. Unique relationships are built when people share a common goal and spend blood, sweat, tears, and late nights working to achieve that goal. That's one of the things I like most about making games, working with a group of talented people that share and realize a vision. Definitely a crucial ingredient for a successful game or any project made by a group of people. The creation of Warcraft universe was to become the foundation of the company's future massive success that would catapult them to being one of the top dogs. Blizzard continued working upon it within the next year, releasing Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness, a graphically rich expansion on the original game that offered a number of interface and multiplayer improvements. Now that we are aware of Blizzard's modest starting point, we will move on to the next chapter. Disclaimer: distinct lines between each era cannot be perfectly drawn, as no single event is in a complete vacuum that is solely responsible for Blizzard's fate, but one can definitely see where things were going well and things were going downhill. Moreover, the evidence is shown in the end results being the quality of the products and services Blizzard launches. With that, we can observe some key patterns forming and look for the key puzzle pieces in order to help us build a more complete picture. We will explore how Blizzard's games act as building blocks, with each new release playing an essential role in the development of the next game, like a chain of events leading one to another. By 1996, with an already well-received RTS game, boosting leadership confidence, staff morale, and providing a healthier revenue stream, Blizzard was ready to face a new challenge: the RPG genre. Blizzard North origins, synchronicities, and weird coincidences surrounding Condor, Diablo, and Blizzard. One of the first people to take notice of Blizzard and Warcraft was David Brevik. In September 1993, David formed the game company Condor with his friends Max and Eric. As luck would have it, Condor's first project was programming Justice League Task Force for the Genesis.
Condor and Silicon and Synapse were both working on different versions of the same thing.
Right, exactly. It was even stranger than that. So when they pitched us, hey, here's a few different products that if you're interested, you can have these jobs. Here's Justice League Task Force, here's the Aerosmith game, here's the, there are like 3 or 4 different choices or whatever. And when we said, well, we'd like to do Justice League Task Force, and they're like, are you sure? Yeah, we're sure. All right, or whatever. So we thought that we were the only version in this game. So we show up at Consumer Electronics Show and wait, there's another version of this game? There's another developer making the same game. Like, we had never met, we had never discussed anything, we had never shared ideas, we had never knew that there was another version or another developer working on the Super Nintendo version of the product at the time. And so it was, we showed up, and the games were oddly similar.
You'd arrived at it's a fighting game.
They're a fighting game,
You'd arrived at similar conclusions.
Almost exactly, and like had nearly identical settings, and like I mean, it was really weird. And so we showed up, and so we kind of talked with them and got to know them and stuff. And
is it a friendly thing, or is it like a hey, F these guys?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, it was very friendly. It was shocking to both of us, but there was no animosity. It wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe that we didn't get both versions of this product. I'm upset that we didn't grow our company or something like that. Neither team really felt that way.
Long story short, Blizzard and Condor really liked each other. Blizzard saw an opportunity in the Diablo game and decided to join forces with Condor. They acquired them, renamed them Blizzard North, while allowing autonomy and providing necessary resources, both talent and financial. For Condor, it was a welcome change as they were struggling to pay salaries, much like early Blizzard did. It also made sense for Davidson to have Condor, thus further expanding their reach into the gaming world. As Diablo grew in scope, everyone at Blizzard headquarters, artists, programmers, designers, sound engineers, testers, worked on it to help the game reach its full potential. After nearly 2 years of development and significant revisions, Diablo was released on December 27, 1996. It launched with Battle.net, enabling multiplayer games and online chat. The game won Game of the Year awards from Computer Gaming World, GameSpot, and Computer Game Entertainment. Diablo sold over 1 million copies in its first year. Soon after, Blizzard North began work on the sequel to Diablo. Despite a longer development process, a more ambitious design, and unprecedented delays, Diablo 2 became a tremendous success. Within 3 weeks, Diablo 2 sold 1 million copies worldwide, becoming the fastest selling computer game in history. While almost everyone was working on Diablo 1, another project at Blizzard was put aside and had been pretty much neglected. A summary of StarCraft, a rocky road to success. Patrick Wyatt, a former Blizzard developer, describes the events during mid-1990s, focusing on StarCraft's development in his blog. Wyatt recalls the fundamental problem was that StarCraft wasn't envisioned as a AAA game. It was intended to fill a hole in Blizzard's development schedule so that the company would ship a game in 1996 and thereby continue to generate revenues. An article in his blog from 2012, Patrick Wyatt recounts the difficulties in developing the iconic RTS game StarCraft. Initially mocked as Orcs in Space during the E3 exhibition 1996, there Blizzard's early version of StarCraft appeared lackluster compared to competitors Ion Storm's Dominion. This prompted critical and costly reboot of the project. Blizzard at the time were focusing almost all their resources on Diablo's project. After the launch of Diablo, the end of 1996, StarCraft development was restarted, and everyone got a chance to see where the game was headed, and it wasn't pretty. The game was dated and not even remotely impressive. The massive success of Diablo reset expectations about what Blizzard should strive for. StarCraft became the game that defined Blizzard's strategy of not releasing games until they were ready. But a lot of pain was endured along the way to prove out this strategy. Wyatt describes the trade E3 show environment where developers secretly analyzed competitors' games to glean new ideas and technologies, essentially scouting what the competition is up to. Despite setbacks, including exhausting crunch periods and internal disagreements, Blizzard's commitment to quality led to StarCraft's eventual success. Ironically, the impressive Dominion demo that spurred StarCraft's overhaul was later revealed to be a fake, a fact discovered when former Ion Storm's developers joined Blizzard. Patrick Wyatt says, "At some point I talked with Mark and Patrick, former employees of Ion Storm, about how Dominion Storm knocked on our heels. They let us in on Ion Storm's dirty little secret. The entire demo was a pre-rendered movie, and the people who showed the demo were just pretending to play the game. We had been duped into rebooting StarCraft, which ultimately led it to be considered the defining game of its genre. It is the standard by which all real-time strategy games are judged. Basically, the original StarCraft we know today was the result of Blizzard devs getting tricked into thinking their competitor had a far superior product, using a CGI demo of a game that ultimately later on flopped. Battle.net's player base expanded dramatically with the release of StarCraft in 1998. Although the game featured an engaging single-player campaign, its true strength was in its multiplayer mode with 3 completely different races while still maintaining balance between them. Mike Morhaime shares that StarCraft and Diablo 2 were both difficult projects towards the end, if for no reason than that the development teams had worked so hard for such a long period of time. You may not realize while you're playing just how huge these projects really are. There was a tremendous amount of effort, passion, and just plain work that went into shipping those titles. StarCraft Brood War became a cultural phenomena in South Korea. Matches between players were shown on national television. It's not wrong to say that Korea is the mecca of esports, and StarCraft was the first strategy game to popularize the term worldwide. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos released July 2002. 7 long years for Warcraft 2 fans had to be waited. It incorporated RPG elements into the standard RTS formula, while also introducing 3D graphics. Most critics praised the game's graphics, both the design of the individual units as well as the game world itself, concluding that Blizzard successfully has entered the 3D universe. An expansion, The Frozen Throne, was released a year later. With every new release, Blizzard was exploring new ways to improve the experience for its players and add a new touch to their games. Warcraft 3 wasn't any different. It is considered an influential example of RTS game and one of the greatest video games ever made. Warcraft was a commercial success, shipping 4.4 million copies to retail stores, selling over 1 million within a month. Video game modifications created within the world editor, such as Defense of the Ancients, led to lasting changes and inspired many future games. Warcraft 3 further solidified Blizzard as the king of RTS games. It received universal acclaim, scoring 92 out of 100 on Metacritic. Critics praised its graphics, design, and game world, highlighting the detailed animations and impressive campaign cinematics. The game's interface was commended for being simple yet powerful, making it easy for players to control their units effectively. The soundtrack was also widely praised for being atmospheric and enhancing the game's tone with faction-specific music. Sound effects and voice acting received positive feedback for their realistic battle noises, magical effects,
Release me from this prison.
and humorous unit comments.
No time for play. Me not that kind of orc.
Although a few critics found some voice acting to be mediocre. By June 2003, 2 new games were in production. The first game in production was Blizzard North's version of Diablo 3, which later on was scrapped and restarted by Blizzard Entertainment. The second was a Diablo-like game which would take place in space. On June 30th, however, several key employees left Blizzard North to form 2 new companies. 8 more moved to form Flagship Studio, including Blizzard North founder and president David Bravik. Another 9 employees left to form Castaway Entertainment. By the time the exodus concluded, around 30 employees had left the company. At the time, there were some major issues causing the departure and maybe clash of opinions of where the Diablo series direction should go. 2 years later, Vivendi makes an announcement that Blizzard North's poor development of what was called Diablo 3 at the time didn't meet their expectations and closed the whole Blizzard North department. It's becoming clear that original Diablo series fate was sealed all the way back in 2003 after a lot of key figures had left. I can only speculate what caused it, but the results are obvious. Now it starts to make sense why the much delayed Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 are so much different compared to their predecessor. A sizable and important portion of the original creators had already left in the early 2000s. This is important because it continues to happen even now. Blizzard bleeds senior talents left and right.
The personalities on the team and their abilities and things like that dictated the type of game we made. I mean, the people and the talent and all the design philosophies and stuff of the people that worked on it, the Blizzard in Irvine, we called them Blizzard South. Those people, they have their own style of game, their own way that they like to design and stuff like that. And it was very, very different than the Blizzard North people. And so I think that when Blizzard South took over the development of Diablo 3, it was inevitable that they were going to create an experience that was in the Diablo theme, but concentrated more towards the things that they like to experience and they liked about, including more story and things like that. When Blizzard North shut down, they lost a ton of experience with why the action RPG works and what about it works. And so that's really difficult to recover from.
This is a major clue in forecasting the company's future. The next entry in the Warcraft franchise deviated dramatically from the RTS roots of its predecessors, but it provided Blizzard with its biggest hit to date. World of Warcraft, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, debuted in 2004, and it drew millions of players to the shared and massive online world of Azeroth. It was a mixture of the MMO genre, which was gaining huge popularity at the time, with RPG elements which Blizzard already had experience developing. They tapped into pop culture on 2 fronts, the Tolkien tales combined with an MMO world. They managed to combine their prior experience and create something new. It's understatement to say it blew gamers' minds at the time. The game built on the mythology of the earlier Warcraft titles, with orcs, dwarves, elves, and other fantasy tropes, but the social networking aspect of the game was perhaps its greatest strength. In October 2010, almost 6 years after WoW's release, the game boasted more than 12 million monthly subscribers, the most it ever had. Keep in mind that any one of those subscribers had to pay $15 monthly fee to have access to the game, combined with buying the expansions and the original World of Warcraft. Well, 20 years later, the game is still being played by millions, although its glorious days are a distant past. Back in 2004, after the release of WoW, Blizzard changed dramatically. Its growth became ginormous. It no longer was the company it once was. I would have to agree with popular World of Warcraft streamers' take on WoW, such as Asmongold, that Classic is the best WoW version. It aligns perfectly timeline-wise and then resembles the best efforts of Blizzard's devs during the company's golden age, the epoch of game quality and improvement. Millions sought to explore the world of Azeroth as humans, dwarves, gnomes, and night elves for the Alliance, and orcs, trolls, tauren, and the undead for the Horde. With the game, Blizzard finally reached the mainstream Stars such as Vin Diesel, Mila Kunis, Dave Chappelle, Felicia Day, Henry Cavill, and many more have publicly admitted that they've played WoW.
Apparently they were total bros. They used to play WoW together, and on Vin Diesel's official Facebook page, he posted a video from 2010 of the two riding on their mounts through Tanarus. So enjoy that. It's an extremely low quality video. Some of these clips are. It's the best you can really. It's the best I could work with.
Although it called forth a huge wave of imitators, no other MMO could break this record customer base till this day. An article from Digitech sums it up perfectly. Diablo, StarCraft, and World of Warcraft were similar in one crucial way. They didn't blindly follow an existing trend. Blizzard always had its own pace and approach when designing games, a recipe rewarded by success over and over again. However, this reputation as an infallible studio also has its downsides, as would come to light years later. This success fed into a rockstar mentality among many long-serving developers, slowly poisoning the climate within the company. It also attracts financial predators. There is a peculiar human phenomena which occurs when you reach huge levels of success. It becomes very hard to continue on that trajectory, going on, growing more, and constantly being able to beat your past records. It requires extreme dedication and discipline as a single human being, but extremely more challenging as a company. With the creation of World of Warcraft, Blizzard achieved the equivalency of a football team winning the World Championship, a Dota team winning the International, or in America, a team winning the NFL. This is, in my opinion, on the same scale of what Blizzard had accomplished with WoW. They conquered a gaming niche which was very popular and extremely profitable. They already had the capacity and had proven it with their StarCraft, Warcraft, and Diablo franchises. They were the king of RTS and RPG, and now they became the king of MMORPG. The money and worldwide recognition started pouring in, but being too good that you have no competition could eventually trigger your own downfall. Blizzard was on the path of overconfidence, and that alienated them from their own customers, fans, and player base. This, of course, didn't happen in a day and unraveled in the span of years, but today we can clearly see the emptiness and lack of quality substance in their games compared to their prior titles. Blizzard had set the golden standard for PC games, but unfortunately it is unable to abide by it these days. While success is the best and worst thing that could have happened to Blizzard because it made them too confident and complacent. To conclude the first chapter, what made Blizzard successful is that they introduced revolutionary improvements into their games that were rare for the time and could raise them from the competition. With the core gaming experience being top-notch, responsive and gratifying, it naturally lured people into them, even transforming non-gamers into gamers. They had the perfect formula and timing. For many people, Warcraft or StarCraft are their first introduction to an RTS genre. Diablo is their first RPG game, and World of Warcraft is their first MMO. Their games had beautiful packaging as well. From the retail boxes to the trailers, the in-game cinematics, art, graphics, and gameplay immersion were one of the best in the industry. They basically managed to be the first in implementing key innovations to enhance the experience and still had the quality and polishing in their games to back it up. That way, Blizzard secured the gamers' appreciation and converted many of them into future loyal fans. That way, they created their core audience, which would buy every new product they sell, thus allowing Blizzard Entertainment to become a colossal name in the gaming world.